Tuungane sote na tushereke pamoja ushindi kwa ukombozi wetu. Tujitoe wenyewe, tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote tuimbe pamoja, kuenzi shikamano hatima yetu. Tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga.
Family, you are once again welcome to Humanist TV Africa. The name is Kwame Apiji Danka, and today we are talking about how occultic and superstitious movies was used to enslave Africans. How occultic and superstitious movies was used to enslave Africans. You know, Africans and our movies, we don't go and leave our movies behind. Our movies are the mirror to the society that reflects ourselves. So we see ourselves in our movies, and most of our movies are either occult based, full of spiritism, superstition, full of witchcraft, full of imaginary creatures, and we will kick it off. But I want you to subscribe to Humanist TV Africa on all your social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and also on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X. On X, we don't have to say anymore. And on X, you can also share our videos to all your platforms so that your family, your friends will also get opportunity to listen and also see these interesting videos we have for you. So basically today we are talking about how occultic and superstitious movies were used to enslave Ghanaians, Africans, and basically the local indigenous people of Africa. My name is Kwame Apiji Danka, and as I usually tell you, please subscribe to Humanist TV Africa. Please do subscribe, and you can also contact us. On info@humanisttvafrica.com. info@humanisttvafrica.com. Our WhatsApp is on the screen, +2 54747356767, and also you can check us out on our website www.humanisttvafrica.com. You can also subscribe to our channels on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok at Humanist TV Africa. This is an interesting story. This is a very interesting story. So I can't find my banner right now, but I have my banner on, but I don't know where my banner is. But we move forward. We move forward. Okay. I had my banner here, but don't worry. Okay, let's kick off with the program. Sorry for the delays and everything, but we will start with the emergence of the audiovisual medium, TV, video, film, and it all starts with colonialism when our colonial fathers were here in Ghana. And when they were here around the 1920s, around 1920s, we have quite the first cinema was, I think, Palladium in Accra, and Palladium Cinema was somewhere also built in Kumasi and Takrady and another various cities here in Ghana. So Palladium was showing basically Charlie Chaplin and Indian movies. But the colonial government also used audiovisual model to, educate the public. They educate the Ghanaian. And here we go. I want to show you some. Yeah, here we will come back to all the yes. Here we go. The colonial government, through the colonial film unit, through the colonial film unit, before the Second World War, because war was propaganda, they also used this war. They also used this audiovisual, the video medium to also create an awareness or a propaganda for themselves. So the colonial government was basically using these audiovisuals to reach to the people of their their colonial places, especially Ghana, West Africa, Nigeria, I think Kenya, many other places. The British government used these colonial film units to propagate their interests. So you can see this van on your TV. It is a mobile van and Republic, as you can see. And these mobile van were set up by the colonial government to reach the villages and how to reach areas to educate them about the to educate the people about the colonial masters, what they want to do and how they want to unite the people and how they want to build them as one people. So they use this method. They will have a van, they will go to villages, they will set up with a generator. There wasn't light or electricity in these villages, so they go along with their generators and their equipment and they set up, and people will come and flood there and they will look, or they will see, or they will watch what their colonial masters has for them. So this is basically what was happening during these days, and not until okay. So you see these Bedford, they were usually green and yellow, and when it comes to these vicinities, these areas in the villages, people would gather around it, and it was fun. But because those days there wasn't anything like television, so having television, having people on screens was a very big deal around those days. So, but they were using it to propagate, and the colonialists came with the mentality that the British people were more civilized than the Africans. So what they did was they tried to imbibe their culture, their education, their worldview. They tried to impose, let me use the word impose, on the African. But fortunately or unfortunately, the African couldn't accept that. So they usually prefer the Charlie Chaplins and these Indian movies than but the British were basically focusing on. The British were native for the British colonial government used the information service department to use its green, yellow Bedford, tour towns and villages to show documentary films, propaganda films, newsreel to explain politics to the people. So the colonial film unit was in London, and they make these. They made these videos. They made these videos, and these videos were shown across Africa. And as I said earlier, the colonial film unit represent the British as civilized, the Cocos film as civilized. So around 19th, so they were basically in charge of everything. As you can see, these white folks and these African women, they were shooting a scene. So they were in charge of operating the cameras and everything. So not until 1948, thereabouts, that the first African or local indigenous or the first Ghanaian or the first Gold Coasters were trained to take part in television or film production. So as I said earlier, the British government then wanted the Gold Coast Film Unit, because the Gold Coast Film Unit came from the colonial film unit. So they set up a Gold Coast Film Unit purposely for the people of this country, then Gold Coast. So the Gold Coast Film Unit used local film, and they used local film and they expected the local film to have these objectives, for them to have a better health, better crops in agriculture, better living, better marketing, better cooperation with the British government. So they wanted to use this to change the worldview or the mentality or the culture of the then Gold Coasters, for them to subscribe to the British way of life. So not until 1948 that the Africans were trained as filmmakers, and many Africans were brought in from Nigeria, Kenya, many other African countries. They came to Accra to be trained as filmmakers, and they also started with their health film, farming film, and so many other films that can imbibe the British way of life into the African. Okay, so basically we will reach where we were, and I don't think we can end this program. I think what we have to do is we will have a part 2 of this topic, because it's so broad. I'm just about to complete our colonial era. So the colonial era was all about movies bettering the lives of Africans, and they wanted us to think like them. They wanted us to see the British as an elite group of people, whilst we Ghanaians, or we the Africans, to look upon ourselves, our culture, as archaic or archaic or barbaric, if I may use that that word. So through that, the Africans didn't accept these objectives the British set for themselves, for them to change the world view of African, to see them as a superior race. So more or less, it was a racist decision by the British government, so that the African will look bad upon themselves and think the British are a better and a good people. So we move it from there. And in 1950s, around the 1950s, basically 1957, when the first government of Ghana was set up by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and when the British left, the Ghana Film Industry Corporation was set up by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So the Ghana Film Industry Corporation was basically formed to maintain the state, to make sure that the state Ghana is unified. The state Ghana comes together as one common entity. The state Ghana, so basically the Ghana Film Industry was a government corporation in which they wanted to, as Kwame Nkrumah said, to make we the Africans see our culture on our television, see our way of life on our television, see ourselves that we can and we will be able to reach the ideals of the African man. So basically, Nkrumah set this up to make Ghana a unified state, and to also make Ghanaians feel that their culture is not archaic. They are a special group of people, and they are, and the future will, and to also make them more futuristic, as in the future holding the better place for all of them. So the Ghana film industry was mainly set up for that purpose. But the Ghana Film Industry Corporation couldn't work to satisfaction. Few films were made, but they were trained, they were highly skilled. And later, let me come closer to the 1980s so that I will finish, because either that you go to about 5 parts of this program. So the film industry, coup after coup d'etat, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation was there, and they were relaying the films to the people through the Ghana through the radio and TV, because the radio and TV were monopolized by the government. There wasn't any private person doing radio and television at that particular time, including movies. So in the 1980s, private movie producers started to produce movies in collaboration with the Ghana Film Industry Corporation. You know, these private film producers, the Ghana Film in 1990. Okay, let me take it from 1990. 50 movies were made each year, collaboration between the private producer and the Ghana Film Industry Corporation. But around 1996, the state of Ghana sold 70% of the Ghana Film Industry Corporation to the Malaysian TV production company, System Television Malaysian. System Television Malaysian. And this System Television Malaysian Berat of Kuala Lumpur in 1998. So in 1996, 1996, the state of Ghana sold 70% of the Ghana Film Industry Corporation to Malaysian TV production company, System Television Malaysian. So because they were a television station from Malaysia, they were more interested in television more than movie making. So the GFIC transformed into Gamma Media System Limited, which was a foreign company, and they focused on TV production. But before this, and in the 1990, I want to show you some movies. I will use this is Palladium in the early 1930s, 1940s, 1920s, and this is I think this is Rex Cinema in Accra, one of the oldest cinemas. But Palladium used to be the oldest cinema here in Ghana, and this Palladium is located in Accra. So let me show you. So this is 1948 when they started training our local people to go into filmmaking. So in the early 1990s, these are the movies on the screen where you can see Diabolo on the screen, Kukrantumi Road to Accra, Heritage, Africa. These were basically movies in the 1990s. But around the 1990s, something unique started happening. And what is it? Apologies, Danka is going to tell you. Around the 1980s, private producers started producing movies, and because they were private producers and they didn't focus on the enlightenment of the African or the Ghanaian or the progress in lifestyle of the Ghanaian, they focus on something that will reap back returns, profit. So around the 1990s, they started producing movies, and one example of these movies is Diabolo. I remember Diabolo, and these movies all originated because most of the Ghanaian people have migrated from their villages into the cities, and with the city life comes a different method of living. So we were living with our families. That was the extended family. Now we are living within the nuclear family in the cities. So movies about extended about the nuclear family started coming out, and you will see a very big, beautiful house in Accra with a man who is working in an office and a woman with their child, all Christians, and they are living a very happy life. So people mentality was, and the game was to be up there like people portrayed on these television, rich people in their mansions in Accra, in Kumasi, prime locations in Accra, in Kumasi. So, and there was this extended or external family in the villages, and with African spirituality comes or evolves around our Asian, let me see, towns or villages, because this is where usually the gods are. This is where usually people consult the gods, the villages, and the rest. So within our spirituality, we felt like the village is a place where we can find our ancestral gods. That will be the place where we can find witches. That will be the place where we can find ghosts and other imaginary creatures. So with the new movie and the move onset of these movies with the Accra-based nuclear family and the village-based extended family, there was this link that the village people were trying, or in connivance with their spiritual mediums, were trying to pull the people in the city down. So you watch movie like forgot this movie, I will remember Tears of the Ghost, Tears of the Ghost, and also one other movie, Fatal Decisions. The Ghost, no, the Ghost Tears and Fatal Decisions. Ghost Tears, I think, came around 1990, and Fatal Decisions came around 1993. What I want my dear viewers to know, that through movie, we learn through social observation, and we have observation, and we have a theory called social observational learning theory, which states that people learn not only through classical and operant condition, but also by observing the behaviors of others. So if you observe the behavior of others, you tend to copy. So with these movies on our screens, you can see Igodo Camp was one, and with the emergence of these Nigerian movies, we were thinking more in a spiritual realm more than in a physical realm, though we didn't experience these spiritual entities in our everyday life. These movies were always portrayed on our screens, and it embedded in us the belief in superstition. You can see Diabolo. Diabolo was a man who can turn into a snake and vomit money. So these superstitious movies were created because the African law, yellow press, if I may say that, we love gossip news, gossip trend, we love spiritual stuff, things that makes our mind go crazy. So these private film producers set these movies up, and they were reaping the profits. And I want to tell you 4 factors that we can learn through observation and how we can imitate it. So like me watching this Diabolo movie right now, this advert creates our attention. I watch the movie, I'm attentive to it. Retention, I can retention. I see a man turning into a snake, vomiting money. I can never forget this. So it is being retained in my mind. Reproduction is, I'll go to any other person and tell the other people that I can also do this, I can also do this. And I'll also search for people where they can give me these occultic powers. I can turn into a snake and also do the same thing, and motivation. So the motivation will motivate you to go and act as in the movie. So with these 4 factors, observation and learning can make you imitate what you see on your screens. And I think we will have to do a part 2 on this program. Thank you very much. The name is Kwame Apiji Danka. I would love you to subscribe to Humanist TV Africa on all your social media platforms. Watch out for part 2 of how occultic and superstitious movies were used to enslave the Ghanaian, the African. Thank you very much. Subscribe to all our channels on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, and also you can on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and at him all at Humanist TV Africa. And also you can contact us on info@humanisttvafrica.com. and also check us out on www.humanisttvafrica.com. Don't go away. See you soon with a part 2 of how occultic and superstitious movies were used to enslave Ghana and Africa. I'm out of here.